You ever wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, replaying that one moment when everything you believed about yourself and the world just cracked open? Yeah, that's how it hits me every time I think about Ellie Harper, this tough-as-nails army medic from a nowhere town in Montana. The kind of woman who could stitch up a gut wound with one hand while cracking a joke about the guy's bad tattoo choices. 3 years back, in the scorched dust bowl of a place we all called Echo Outpost tucked in the jagged teeth of the Zagros Mountains in Iraq, where the air tastes like regret and every shadow hides a grudge, Ellie dragged 5 half-dead Delta Force operators through hellfire terrain that should have swallowed them whole. And get this, the brass had already carved her name on the memorial plaque, shipped her dog tags back to her folks in Billings, planned the whole somber send-off with taps and folded flags. But there she was, at dawn, hauling those boys in on jury-rigged sleds made from busted rucksacks and prayer, looking like she'd just stepped out of a fever dream. The guards up in those creaky towers? They damn near dropped their rifles, whispering into the radio like ghosts had crashed the party. "Base, you won't believe this shit. It's Harper, the dead one." And just like that, the hook's in, because what the hell does a woman do when the system writes you off as collateral, but you've got skills sharper than shrapnel and a fire in your gut that says, "Nah, not today"? Picture it. Rewind 72 hours, and we're knee-deep in the grind of another blistering morning briefing in that sweatbox ops tent at Echo Outpost, fans whirring like angry hornets against the heat. Colonel Jack Harlan, this grizzled vet with a face like weathered leather and eyes that had seen too many body bags zipped up, he's up front, jabbing a stubby finger at a dog-eared topo map splashed across the wall, the kind that makes the mountains look like God's own knife fight. Intel's lighting up like a Christmas tree in the Cobber Valley, he growls, voice gravel over bourbon. Delta Team 4's heading in for a recon sweep on those ghost caches Grid 9 Bravo to 12 Charlie. Med supports Doc Ramirez from the aide shack, kids green but eager. Ellie? She's slouched in the back row, all 5 feet 4 inches of her crammed into that starched uniform, her dark curls yanked back in a bun that's fighting a losing battle against the humidity, medical kit slung at her feet like a loyal dog. At 28, she'd patched more bleeds than most surgeons see in a lifetime. Hell, she'd picked up Farsi and Kurdish on her own dime during R&R, could read the enemy's chatter like a grocery list, and had this quiet way of breaking down blast radii that made the grunts listen even when they pretended not to. But to Harlan, she was just the lane stayer, the gal who handed out ibuprofen and kept her mouth shut. "Sir," she pipes up, voice steady but edged like a scalpel. That valley's a pressure cooker. Over 7,000 feet. Hypoxia hits fast on the wounded, turns a flesh wound into a coffin nail. Ramirez hasn't run high-alt drills. We tweak the evac protocols now, or we're burying our own. Harlan glances her way. That polite squint commanders pull when an enlisted throws curveballs, you know, the one that says, "Cute input, sweetheart," but wheels up in 0600. Noted, Harper. Ramirez has the qualls. Stay frosty. The tent chuckles, low and mean, like she's the punchline to a joke nobody bothered to tell her. Inside, Ellie's gut twists, not rage. Nah, something deeper, like swallowing glass. See, she'd lost her brother to a botched evac in Kandahar years back. Some pencil pusher back at HQ deciding resources tied up meant let him bleed out on a ridge. That scar? It never healed right. It just simmered, whispering that if you wait for permission, the mountain wins. She bites her tongue, nods like a good soldier, but as the chairs scrape and boots shuffle out, Lieutenant Kira Voss, the intel whiz with the sharp bob and sharper doubt, sidles up, all confidential hush. "Ellie, that was gold, but you know how it rolls. Medics don't play tactician. Poke the bear, and it'll bite." Ellie forces a half smile, the kind that doesn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, Kira, lanes are for highways, not graveyards, but damn, it stings, that invisible wall of know your place, built brick by jealous brick from folks who'd rather blame the map than their own blind spots." And just like that, the conflict's lit. Ellie's a walking arsenal of know-how, but the outpost's a machine that chews up outliers, spits out compliant cogs, all because Harlan's got his eye on that star promotion. And rocking the boat means admitting his ops plan's got more holes than a sieve. Fast forward through the blur of false dawns, and Ellie's hunkered in the comms shack with Sergeant Ray Sparks Delgado, this wiry Filipino-American gearhead, who's got antennas for fingers and a nose for bullshit signals that'd make the NSA jealous. The shack's a coffin of blinking LEDs and stale coffee, air thick with the hum of intercepts that sound like distant thunder. "Check this, L," Sparks mutters, sliding her a tablet glowing with squiggles of code. Taliban chatter spiking like a junkie's EKG, code words for mule trains that scream weapons haul, time to Delta's infill like a damn wedding invitation. Ellie's eyes narrow, piecing it like a puzzle from hell. "They're herding us into a kill box, Sparks. Valley narrows at dawn, perfect for RPG ambushes. This ain't merchants jawing about goats, it's a setup." Sparks nods, grim as a gravedigger, but his voice drops. "Told the intel desk, they waved it off as local noise." Harlan's got brass breathing down his neck for a clean when admitting a leak means heads roll, starting with his. Ellie's fists clench under the console. That old scar flaring hot jealousy? Nah, deeper. It's the outpost's rotten core, where egos like Harlan's hoard power like misers, turning intel into echoes because a failed op bruises the resume more than a body count. She slips out, corners Delta's lead. Staff Sergeant Marco Ruiz, this mountain of a man. 6 feet 3 inches of coiled quiet with tattoos snaking up his neck like war stories etched in ink. He's pacing the motor pool, gear half-packed, that pre-jump jitters humming off him like static. "Ruiz," she says, low and urgent. "Your grid's hot chatters painting kill zones, not caches. Abort or reroute, or you're walking into a meat grinder." He freezes, those dark eyes locking on hers like she's the first real thing in a sea of smoke. "Harper? Where's this from?" Brass says green light. She spills it, raw intercepts and all, her voice cracking just a hair on the edge of desperation from listening when they stop talking. "Trust me, or don't, but I've seen valleys like this eat teams alive." Ruiz studies her, a flicker of respect cutting through the skepticism, then nods slow. "You're not supposed to know this shit, medic. But yeah, feels off. I'll push for eyes. But the gods of brass? They don't budge." Delta humps out at ODark 30, rotors fading into the black, and Ellie's left pacing her bunk, that twist in her gut turning to a scream she swallows down because waiting's never been her style, and the system's just handed her the match. Then it hits 1,347 hours. Sparks' radio spits static-laced hell. Ruiz's voice, ragged and clipped. "Eagle nest, heavy contact. Prepared positions, team lead down 4 key risk, evacs now." Gunfire crackles through the feed like popcorn in a microwave, then dead air. The ops 10 erupts, Harlan barking orders like a auctioneer, weather's turning, assets locked in Sector Zulu. "Hold and hunker, boys." Ellie freezes in the doorway, blood roaring in her ears, that scar ripping wide hold. That's code for "let him bleed." Same bullshit that stole her brother, and now it's Ruiz and his ghosts facing the Reaper, because Harlan's too chicken shit to own a bad call. She bolts to Sparks, eyes wild. "They're dying up there. Ray hypoxia plus lead poisoning? Windows 90 minutes, tops." Sparks meets her gaze, that shared with seen too much look, and whispers, "What are we doing, Elle?" Chain's ironclad. But Ellie's already cracking open her lockbox, the one stuffed with black market sutures. Climbing cams she'd bartered for an herbal, for kits modded for altitude bleeds gear the regs called overreach. But to her, lifelines for when the machine jams. "Screw the chain," she hisses, voice breaking on the edge of tears she won't let fall. "I'm their shot. And if that means court-martial confetti, fine. But those boys, they get home." Sparks grabs her arm, not to stop, but to hand over a SATCOM. "Guardian Hawk, that's you. I'll spoof the logs, go be the ghost." And out she slips, into the dusk that swallows outposts whole, heart hammering a war drum. This ain't rebellion. It's reckoning, born from a sister's grief and a medic's oath that whispers louder than any colonel's bluster. The trek? Pure nightmare fuel. That first leg where the Zagras claws at your soul like it's got a personal beef. Ellie's threading goat paths that'd snap a tank's treads, breath fogging her NVGs as she ghosts past a Taliban OP at 0230. 2 tangos nursing AKs and tea, their chatter a low growl about infidel dogs incoming. She hugs the shale ledge, fingers bleeding on the holds, whispering into the calm. "Sparks, Alpha bypassed, they're blind to solo sneaks." His reply crackles soft, laced with worry. Copy. Hawk Ruiz's vitals tanking. Stone's got shrapnel soup. Burke's gut shot bad. By 0400, she's cresting the ridge. Deltas hole up a ragged foxhole in a sheer drop-off. Rotors grounded by wind shear, and there they are. 5 shadows bleeding into the rock. Ruiz, pale as milk, leg tourniquet tight. Corpseman Lena Doc Torres, fading in and out with a skullcracker concussion. Sniper Jack's Harlan Irony's bite. The colonel's nephew femoral gusher turned his BDUs black. Plus flankers Nate Cole and Vic Ramos, shredded but mobile, eyes hollow with that we're fucked stare. Ruiz spots her silhouette, rasps through pain. Who the hell? No bird inbound you authorized. Ellie's dropping her pack, hands flying to vitals, voice a fierce whisper. Sergeant Harper, Echo Med unauthorized as sin, but here to cheat the devil. Burke first, he's circling the drain. The air's thick with cordite and fierce sweat as she cracks open his armor. Blood hot on her gloves. Easy. Big guy, liver's nicked, but I got you. Her needle threading sutures like a seamstress on deadline. All while Ruiz hisses Overwatch. Tangos at 300 South, make it quick. Harper, or we're all ghosts. It's electric, that bubble of life or death ballet, her steady hands against his ragged breaths, a quiet, thanks, ma'am, from Jax that hits like absolution, because in that foxhole, lanes dissolve, and Ellie's not just medic, she's the damn lifeline. Pulling them from the system's scrap heap with grit, that'd make her brother grin from wherever he watches. But saving him? That's the easy part. Hauling him out's the devil's own marathon, and Ellie's rigging litters from carabiners and torn ponchos, a solo sled system she'd dreamed up after too many nights staring at sat photos, thinking, what if the birds don't come? First runs Burke, 200 pounds of dead weight slung low on her hips. Every step a grind through scree-thatted avalanche lesser souls. She dodges a goatherd patrol at 0600. Tangos, so close she smells their hashish. Heart slamming like a bass drum as she belly crawls a nulla, whispering. Almost sparks rally Bravo in sight. His voice ghosts back, tense. Harlan sniffing, says you're AWOL on personal time. Hurry, El Brass is circling. By noon, she's yo-yoed twice more. Torres next, her foggy eyes clearing just enough to murmur. Didn't think angels packed scalpels. Then Jax, his femoral patch holding like a prayer as she low walks him past a drone buzz that could have been theirs or theirs. Consolidating at the midpoint cave, this dripping grotto that echoes like a confessional. The team's a ragged wolf pack. Ruiz clapping her shoulder with a grunt. Harper, you're a myth, but myths bleed too. We hump final leg tight. Cole and Ramos on point. Ellie's bone-tired, quad screaming. But that fire? It flares when Jax mutters. Uncle Jackal shit bricks always said gals like you were support, not saviors. She shoots back. Ryan raw. Tell him support's what holds up the world. Kid, now move, before I stitch your mouth shut. Laughter ripples, brittle but real, as they snake the last 8 clicks. Wind-whipped gullies dodging Apache sweeps from their own side. Tangos flushing birds that scream ambush. Ellie's hauling Jack's piggyback over a chute, his blood warm on her neck, when the first round snap, down. Echo-friendlies, hold fire. Harlan's birds mistaking them for ghosts. Rotors thumping like Judgment Day. Ruiz flares a chem light, bellowing into the chaos. It's Delta. You idiots, Harper's got us. And in that frozen beat, as the Apaches bank hard, Ellie's staring down the barrel of her own side's guns, thinking, this is at the system's teeth, biting back harder than the enemy ever could. Dawn breaks bloody over Echo's wire, 72 hours ticking like a bomb. And Ellie's silhouette crests the perimeter, 5 deltas in tow. A human chain of battered miracle, her face streaked with camo and crimson, voice a croak over the gate horn. Med Bay, now criticals inbound. The watch sergeant, young buck named Tommy Ruiz, no relation. Thank God, fumbles his mic, eyes bugging. Harper? We folded your kit yesterday, ma'am. And these guys? Roster says TPK. Ellie shoves past. Jack slung over her shoulder like a broken promise. Roster's wrong. Kids, save the questions for the eulogies we ain't writing. The yard erupts, medics swarming like bees to honey. Major Lena Voss, Kira's sister, Irony's encore barking orders as she peels back dressings, her face twisting from pro to pale. Jesus, Ellie, this vascular work. It's OR grade in a ditch? Where'd you learn to Frankenstein arteries? Ellie's slumping against a Humvee, breath ragged, firing back with that maverick spark. YouTube and spite. Major mostly spite. Now fix him before I do. Harlan storms in, face thundercloud, grabbing her collar in a grip that's half fury, half awe. What the hell, Harper? You ghosted my outpost. Jack my op, I had search birds up your ass. She yanks free, green eyes blazing through the grime, voice low and lethal. Yeah, Colonel, and while your birds played tag, my boys were bleeding out because assets tied up is code for cover your star. I fixed your leak, now own it. The yard goes pin drop, deltas stirring on gurneys with weak cheers, Ruiz croaking. She saved us, Sir Lanes be damned. Harlan's jaw works, that ego crack widening into something like respect, or maybe just fear of the report that'll torch his promo, debrief, 1800. And Harper? Don't. Do that again. But his eyes say different. Do it every time. The fallout? A three-ring circus of probes and posturing. Brass from Bagram swooping in like vultures on a fresh kill, grilling Ellie in a prefab trailer that smells of stale cigars and shattered illusions. Unauthorized op. Sergeant, that's Article 92, straight to Leavenworth, snaps Lieutenant Colonel Dana Reese. All starched ambition and zero scars, her pen hovering like a guillotine. Ellie's leaning back, coffee mug steaming, that wry half-grin slipping in. Ma'am, Leavenworth's got better plumbing than this hole, but yeah, guilty. 5 lives against a reg book? Sign me up. Ruiz and the Deltas file in, bandaged but unbroken. Jack's leading with a glare that could curdle milk. Reese, she cut me open with a Leatherman and walked us out. Your authorized plan left us for buzzards. Torres chimes, voice steady despite the morphine haze. Field neuro on me? Save my gray matter. That's not violation, that's valor. Sparks slips in testimony via encrypted log, comms black, but she turned whispers into winds, and even Harlan, begrudging as a cat in rain, admits. Results speak. Louder than my standing orders. The room shifts, that righteous thunder turning to murmurs. Reese's pen scratching furious notes as the tide turns because deep down, it's not just about rules. It's the outpost's dirty secret. How cliques like Harlan's gatekeep glory, burying talents like Ellie's under lanes to hoard the wins. All rooted in that toxic brew of old boy envy and fear of a woman rewriting the playbook. By week's end, the hammer drops not court, but cluster. Silver star pinned on her chest by General Mira Kane herself, who mutters under the flashbulbs. Harper, you broke the mold, now let's melt down the damn thing. Policy ripples out new evals sniffing out ghost skills, cross-trains blending med and mud, legal shields for moral overrides when the brass blinks. Ellie's promoted, sidelined to consultant stateside, but that fire? It simmers, waiting. And here's the rub that keeps me up. Folks, Ellie's ghost walk saved lives, sure, but it cracked the fortress wide, forcing the machine to admit it runs on people, not protocols. Was she a hero, or a glitch the system should have squashed? Picture Harlan nursing that grudge over beers back home, whispering to his golf buddies about uppity medics ruining good ops, while Jax inks her call sign on his arm, toasting to the lanes that almost killed them. Me? I say she was both the spark and the reckoning, proving that when the mountain calls bullshit on your map, you lace up anyway. But you tell me, in a world choking on red tape, when does bending the rules become breaking the chain? Or saving the soul of it all? Drop your take below, hero or headache. Ever bucked the system and lived to regret or celebrate it? Hit like if Ellie's fire lit yours. Subscribe for more tales from the edge that don't fit the script, and share this if you've got a ghost story of your own. What's your lane? And would you jump it?